welcome to my fourth and last interview of the Bloodline interview series. I'm here with Chris O'Halloran, which is a very particular way to pronounce it. And just as a reminder, Bloodlines is a collection of 4 horror tales revolving around family-themed horror. It is coming out January 11th, 2022, as when this comes out, that's pretty soon. If you go to the link below, you can pre-order it, which I would highly recommend you do. And if you haven't seen the previous 3 interviews, I've included those links below as well. Now, Chris, his story in this collection is called Our Migraine, and it revolves around 3 sisters, which hit hard being a middle child here. And Chris is an HWA member and a Howls Society admin. He also likes to sling milk and act. His fiction has been previously published by Hellbound Books, Tales to Terrify podcast, The Dread Machine, and of course the Howls Society anthology we did last year, Howls from Hell. Now, when he's not acting like a fool for chuckles from his wife and son at home in BC, he's obviously writing horror. Now, if you want to find him, you can at his website, which is super generic, but maybe that'll make it easy to remember, coauthor.ca, so co-author.ca. Or you can find him at on Twitter at Burgo Infernal, which I will spell BURGLEINFERNAL, and of course that's going to be below as well. Now, Chris, after that convoluted intro, hello and welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I see you have some deftly placed advertising on your screen there for the collection.
Oh, this? Online. Yeah, this is just something I had up. You know.
Yeah, that's totally not connected at all. That's fine.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us how this whole process started?
Well, this started as, I think, sometime like a long time ago. Alex was talking about how there are these double features in film where 2 directors, they put out a film together and or they put 2 films together and then put that out. So he thought, you know, why don't authors do that? So then one day me and Carson were lamenting about having these novelettes that nobody wanted. Like they're unwieldy, you can't read them in half an hour. What do we do with them? So I remembered that conversation with Alex and how he had the double feature idea. So I thought, why not make a triple feature? And then we were discussing it in the main Discord of Howls. And Anthony came along and he's like, you know what? Get me in there. So we got him in there. And because I think this might be his first published piece.
Yep, this is his debut.
Yeah, and it is super good. Like we are constantly saying that he must be lying to us because he's an incredible writer. He's incredible. And so it just started from there, and it really blew up. Like at every state, we were originally going to put this out as like, you know, just a whatever, like just being punk, throwing it out to the wind and seeing what happened, not expecting much. Mm-hmm. But then we started talking about the cover, and we started talking about like who we were going to contact, and we contacted Rooster Republic for the cover. And they ended up just blowing it out of the water. Like, it's just the most incredible thing. I'm so proud of it. And
yeah, I do remember the original cover because that was in the arc you sent me. And this new cover,
right,
like way, way better.
Right.
No offense to whoever did the original cover.
That was me. Ever since I found...
R.I.P. Chris, you are not an illustrator.
Well, ever since I found the Canva app, I've been going nuts. Like any excuse I have to make some sort of graphic design, I just go to town with it. And obviously this is, you know, you pay a little bit of money, you get a better product.
Yeah.
But yeah, since we got that, and then literally at every stage of production, it's just really taken it that much higher. Like that, the expectation, the pride in the product. We just got Solomon Force's introduction, and it was amazing. Like it's just as much a part of the collection as any of the stories. And so now we've got this product that we're insanely proud of, just out of nothing, out of thin air.
Yeah, and for anyone who's watching who doesn't know, Solomon Force is the founding father of the Howls Society. So that's pretty awesome. I've also read the foreword and it's amazing. So what can you tell us? Obviously, you mentioned that this is very unique in that 4 authors came together to put together a collection. And so being one, like pretty much, I haven't heard of anything like this. So I'm gonna just hazard and say like the first of its kind. What was the process like? Like there must have been challenges, like, you know, writers are egotistical and fragile creatures, much like gazelles. Or cats. So what was it like dealing with 4 authors, like obviously very loyal to their idea of what this project may or may not be like and what it should be like?
Right. We came into it with a lot of faith in each other. I think we all started out pretty much as fans of each other. So I think, who was it? Me and Alex had stories already, so we didn't have to write anything new. I think Carson wrote something new and Anthony wrote something new. But when they showed it to us, it was just, you know, they were so close to done. They were so polished that the editing really didn't take, like, this was the easiest project I think I've been a part of. The edits were minimal. Literally the hardest part of dealing with this project is all of our discussion. We have our like our direct message chat. We have our Bloodlines chat. Mm-hmm. And we really should have 2 chats because we'll mention the book. We'll have a little bit where we talk about our plan for the book. And then it's just pages and pages and pages of digressions and dick jokes and just we're just always talking and we're always going off on these, you know, tirades. And that was the hardest part, is just finding the little bits where we actually planned it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was really 4 friends coming together and you know, just getting into trouble.
And like what do you feel like, so this is obviously when this video comes out, it's pretty much come to a close and you're releasing it you know, in the next week or so. Like what are you taking away from this besides having a collection now?
That's a really good question. I'm taking away that this is really feasible if you put the work in. Like we've had phone conversations, we've done a lot of research, and we've been in contact with a lot of people. If you do that, if you put in the work and you take it seriously and you take risks, then it really pays off, and it's really doable by anyone. You pay someone for a cover, you get in contact with authors, get the blurbs, and these things, they start to build themselves. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good takeaway, just because I think a lot of people, I mean, I feel like you either get traditionally published, indie published, or you self-publish, and people who self-publish usually just publish themselves rather than work in a collective to create a collection. Yeah. So I wonder, like, just for anyone who's watching who might be interested in kind of replicating this, can you break down just very high level the steps that you would recommend somebody going through start to finish?
This is like,
I guess step 1, find like-minded authors. And
right. And to be honest, I don't know if it would be as easy as it was with, say, 12 authors or 16 authors like you would find in a typical collection. Since we only had 4 authors, it was a lot easier to come to an agreement on things like the cover and stories and stuff. But I don't know. I think find like-minded authors. That's, you know, crucial. Join Howls Society, because there's a bunch of us in there.
Discord invite link below.
That's right.
Of course, the admin would have to say that.
Yeah. I'm the newest admin, so I gotta prove myself.
Yeah.
Write the stories, get the manuscript ready, and then just start getting into contact with people, contacting people for blurbs. Really go to sensitivity readers. That was something that I made sure to do with at least my story, because there is some homophobic language in it. There are these dynamics at play that I really don't want to portray in the wrong light.
Yeah, I can imagine, because like as I mentioned, it is about three sisters, and
right.
You identify as a man.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always like those tropes online about men writing women. I mean, there's a subreddit for it, and I personally, like as a woman reading it and even having sisters, I felt like it was very accurate, especially the sister dynamics, the cattiness, the kind of like cliques that can form even with just three sisters. Like I was like, wow, okay, my childhood, don't at me.
Well, I didn't know you were the middle child. I'm also the middle child, so maybe
middle child unite.
Yeah. Unite, because nobody else will unite with us.
I know. People, stop neglecting your middle children, please. You end up with us.
It could be
Look
worse,
at what
right?
you're creating, Mom.
Good luck with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, just for anyone looking to do it, make sure you've written a lot. Before you self-publish, I think you should shoot for professional publication, or at least, token markets, submit to these magazines before you put something out under your own discretion, because you never know what you're putting out. I didn't like Howls from Hell, my story Possess and Serve. There was a lot of men writing women in that. There were a lot of issues in that.
I know, I was one of the people who said it.
You edited it twice, I believe. So I really got the salt on that one.
Yeah, you did, and you deserved it. I will never forgive you for that mirror sentence.
The mirror. Oh, yeah.
Do you want me to repeat it? Paraphrase it right now? Shame
the
you?
The one that ended up being replaced by the tiramisu.
Maybe. Like, I don't want to shame you, Chris. But it was the line where she goes into, I'm not going to spoil anything. If you haven't bought Howls from Hell, please do. I will also link that below. But a woman goes into a bathroom. It's in the house owned by a man, and there's a smudge on the mirror, and she thinks to herself, this is how I know he needs a woman's touch. And I was like, Chris, what the hell? And I was like, r/men writing moment, like right here, like
take a screenshot, post it.
Yep.
Just slam me.
Cross-stitched it, sending it to you to shame you further.
No.
To be fair, you did remove it, and it's much better now.
Right. The story is in its best form the way it is now. And that was a problem when I first started writing. It's, most of my friends are guys. So those were the ones who were reading my stories. They weren't seeing these issues. And it really took finding Howls and getting more diverse eyes on it to point out these issues. And, just in the last, I don't know, how long has Howls been around? A year and a half now?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I joined last June. And just in the last year and a half, it's been, I feel like my point of view has expanded way more just from having other eyes on my work and seeing other work from other walks of life. Mm-hmm. That's been really helpful. So if you're looking to publish a collection, I think that's something you need. You need that diverse point of view. You need to be talking to other people. You need to be listening to other people more than anything. Mm-hmm. And that's going to make your work so much deeper and so much more expansive.
I think that's excellent way to put it. I guess I would caveat that with I don't think you'll need to I don't think it's a prerequisite to self-publish that you should get published by small markets first. I think if you have a large enough and diverse enough collection of beta readers, I think that makes you safe, but you have to actually make it diverse. It can't just be a bunch of guys from around the world.
Right.
You got to have everything, and Howls does kind of have the advantage of giving you that. I think it's funny. So you say you joined in June. So I was in the Howls months before that. So it's so funny that you yelled at me for being new too, and you were newer than me.
I was wondering if you would bring that up.
Yeah.
I was hoping you would.
No one will ever forget that moment. I mean,
this is another
fair,
instance where I should be dragged. I deserve it.
well, no, like, to be fair, like, I was very much a lurker for my first 4 or 5 months. Like, Morty kind of like peer pressured me into joining, and then I just refused to participate in any of the discussions, and I just kind of watched, and then I muted Discord on my phone for ages. And then I was like, well, maybe I should try, like, maybe I'm not doing this group justice. I think at that point, the writer's corner on the Discord only had like 20 people, 30 people maybe.
Yeah, I think we were more of a reading group than a writing group back then.
Yeah, and I posted in self-promotion, and you came at me and you're like, we prefer if people who just join participate a bit more before they start self-promoting. And I was like, well, I've been here for 4 months, but I'll take that to heart and I'll start talking more. And Morty was like, yeah, she's been here for a while. And I went directly after, and I posted in the welcome channel, like, introducing myself. And then for a while, everyone was getting me confused with Frylock because we both have French fries in our icon.
Mm-hmm.
So it made it even more confusing to people because they didn't know who's who. And I never corrected them. If they called me Frylock, I was like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll roll with that.
Yeah, I'd roll with it.
I contain multitudes.
There's many fries in this packet.
There should be.
Let's see. Okay, so we talked about challenges. So your story, again, Bloodlines, is coming out January 11th, 2022. Pre-order link below. So your story, Our Migraine. Why don't you tell us a little about it without spoiling it?
Okay. Our Migraine is about 3 sisters who each take turns with this ever worsening migraine. So they each tag out. One sister takes it on while the other 2 get a break. And this kind of lifestyle is a little bit unsustainable. When you suffer with migraines, as I do in real life, and as countless howlers do apparently, it really affects everything, really. Day to day, you get like a floating spot in your eye. You're like, is this another migraine? Is this an aura coming on? And that anxiety in turn can trigger a migraine. So these 3 sisters, one of them, there's always one who's a little more harsher than others. There's always one sibling.
Always the eldest.
Yeah, it's usually the eldest. And they start to wonder if there's a way to get rid of this thing, and what kind of sacrifices will we have to make to get rid of this thing. And of course, things devolve from there, as they do in any great horror story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. One thing I really loved about your story was you could feel how claustrophobic this control that the migraine had over the sisters was. Like, reading it, I just felt like I was being trapped. And honestly, I thought it was just an astounding story. I wasn't expecting it. You just hit hard right at the beginning, and it just like spins off so fast. And it's just, don't tell anyone else, but it was my favorite story. I already told you this. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing that I really wanted to get across to any new writers out there, is to really use your life and use the lives of people around you, because this is something that I have suffered with literally since I was in probably elementary school. I've gotten migraines, and it's something that my mom gets, my sister, my brother, literally like everyone except my dad. He lucked out, but we all get migraines, and it's led to a lot of issues. In my senior year of high school, I got to go to this training course to be a firefighter. So I got to go through this whole course and everything, and at the end, it accumulates in this chance to drive the fire truck. Now, of course, on the day we're driving the fire truck, I get that blind spot, I get those aura symptoms. I know a migraine's coming on. You can't drive a fire truck if you have a migraine. Mm-hmm. You're gonna crash. You're gonna hit things. So I had to duck out of that opportunity because I got a migraine. So this was my chance to really take this thing that I suffer from and just grab it by the horns and do something with it, and pull a story out of it. and I couldn't make it a 3,000 word story. I couldn't make it a 4,000 word story. I had to make it an 11,000 word story because it's had that big of an impact on my life.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think I read through it in maybe an hour just because I didn't put it down.
Wow.
Like, I was just like, I remember I DM'd you and I was like, okay, I'm starting your arc now. And then I think like 4 hours later, I was like, I finished it. Like the whole thing. Because I couldn't put it down. Like, it's such a good collection. And I'm assuming, does that answer my next question, like where the inspiration for the story came from?
I think so. I wanted to touch on that a little bit more though, because even my last two stories, I kind of stole from other people. And I think that's something that
Chris admits to plagiarism. Hashtag canceled.
I'm getting slammed this whole interview, and I am here for it.
Also, I just want to call out, so you said your senior year of high school. I didn't know we were American now, Chris.
Yeah, well,
Isn't
I know
it
my
12th
audience.
Grade?
Yeah. No, it's actually not. It's grade 12.
Grade 12. There you go. I've been away so long from the motherland.
Do you call it macaroni or craft dinner?
Craft dinner.
Okay, so you still got that.
I'm still pure at heart in that way. And there's like 6 boxes in my cupboard, so.
Awesome. Yeah, now they got the Cheetos one. And you expect it to be cheesier and it's not.
No, it's actually really lacking in flavor, surprisingly.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a whole interview about that.
Yeah, that'll be next time.
Next time. But I wanted to talk about my next two stories. The one that I sold to Mixtape 1986, and the one that I sold to Howls, actually, for the Howls from the Dark Ages anthology.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your charity.
Oh, again, that's a good quick ad break. So we do have a new Howls anthology coming out. May of 2022, called Howls from the Dark Ages, which will be medieval horror. I'll include a link to that. I'm actually co-editing it with the co-founder of Howls, Solomon Force, and Chris was one of the lucky selected. I say lucky, but I feel like that is unfair because it seems to imply that it was luck that got you in. It was really the talent in the story. So I will rephrase. Chris was one of the ones who earned his way in with a really damn good medieval story, if I do say so myself. So continue.
Thank you. Yeah, so that story.
Ad break.
That story came from me just talking to my dad, and he had this idea of the last time he went to Ireland. He visited this castle, Leap Castle, and it's just like the most haunted castle in Ireland. So I thought, that's a story. So that was the impetus for that story, and that was my last story that I sold. And then the story before that, for Mixtape 1986, I wasn't alive in 1986. So I have
a little baby here. Actually, neither I wasn't either. So
exactly, I thought so. So I thought, okay, who was alive in 1986? My mom. So I literally I interviewed her for details on her life and all the stuff that she was going through. And that gave me everything I needed for my short story, Jaws. So she's literally the character in there. Her, my Nona, my Nono, my uncle, like these characters are all from my life. So if I could,
a shark though?
I kind of sold the title. They've had it for like what, 50 years now, 60 years.
I just want to say that's false advertising.
Nah, it's time for a new Jaws.
Yeah, it's Moose Jaws now, people. Whoa, but Canadian humor.
Yes, thank you. Four people will get that.
I know, our few Canadian members and fans out there.
Yes. So I got, that would be my top tip for new writers is you're gonna steal anyway. Like subconsciously, you're gonna steal. Possess and Serve was literally, I was reading a Brandon Sanderson book, and I was like, maybe it's gonna go this way, maybe it's gonna go left, and it went right, and I was like, well, then I'm gonna take that left path, and I'm gonna write a story about it. And so you're gonna steal anyway, subconscious or not. So make it deliberate what you're stealing from, your influences, because then you can really choose the way that you're going to make it unique. You can choose the paths that you're going to branch off on.
Then overall with writing, you obviously mentioned Sanderson, but what are your major influences and inspirations when it comes to writing and your style?
It's kind of like a boring answer. Obviously, Stephen King, he's like the king. And I've noticed I have like a lot of white dudes on my influential list. I know. I'm constantly self-reflecting. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to grow. Because I started off with like, Joe Hill, Grady Hendrix. I found Christopher Buehlman recently, and I've been loving them. But then once I started expanding my viewpoint and going beyond like what Reddit told me to read or what these articles I researched online told me to read, I found Stephen Graham Jones, and I've literally like loved every single thing he's put out. And he's got this huge backlog, and I'm just, working my way through it. And like My Heart is a Chainsaw was just like tremendous. Like The Only Good Indian was just amazing. Victor Laval, we're about to read The Changeling, or at this point when the interview comes out, we'll have read it. He's great. And Caroline Kepnes, who wrote the You series.
Yeah, that one was good.
It's so good. And it kind of straddles the line between like horror and thriller, but it's just, it's incredible. Like you'll read it in a sitting, everything she puts out. The You series, Providence. I'm just waiting for the next novel from her. And then most recently, actually, I read Bunny by Mona Awad. And that was so inspiring in the things that she did with her prose. Like now that I feel like I've got characters down, I've got plot down, I'm starting to look into ways I can expand my writing, and like my prose can use some work, in my opinion. So finding authors like her, or like, off the top of my head, I don't know the author, but her book, Hollow Kingdom.
I'm not sure I know that one.
It's Kira something. It's a story about a pretty much a zombie apocalypse seen through the eyes of animals. And it's so amazing. It was like, I want to shout it from the rooftops how great it is. So those two authors are two that I'm really going to start almost studying, because I feel like their prose is just next level.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like that's a good goal to have, is to just always try expanding what you're reading and try to read outside of your usual, like, nothing against like King or Hill or anything, because like obviously I've consumed so much King. Like one of my whole shelves on my bookcase is just all King. Like but yeah, that's one thing I actually like about the Howls Society. So I know I'm notorious for never participating in a book discussion, but I actually do look at the list, and I'll look at what has been selected. And sometimes I do read off of the list. I just never tell anyone.
You're just in the corner reading the book while we're in a big group reading the book?
Like discussing, yeah. And I'm just like listening in. Oh yeah, I do agree with that point, but I'd never say that in chat.
That was a stupid point, Chris.
Yeah, God, just shut your mouth.
I can't believe you liked Maynard's House.
I did like that, actually. I like that book.
The one other person who would have been in my corner. You don't participate.
I did enjoy it. I thought I have a partial, maybe it's the Canadianness in us. I do like a good winter set horror, like thick, the shining levels of snow, like trapped in a building type horror. I'm all about that. And I think I read that when it was starting to heat up, and I was like, oh, this will be a good book, because it's really hot here in Colorado, and this will remind me of what my homeland was like.
Oh, that's nice. And kind of sad, but
yeah, I know. So like I did enjoy it. We won't get into that. If you want to know why people dislike that book, join the Howls Society.
I feel like this interview has been plug upon plug upon plug upon plug. I know.
This is what makes you a good admin.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. You're allowing all the proper slots for me to slip that in, and like Morty will give us each our $5 gift cards to Starbucks to thank us.
Or Tim Hortons.
Half a coffee. Like, most. We don't have that here.
Oh, sad.
Not here. Yep. All right. Then, do you have any particular writing process, or like any kind of environment you need to be in to write the best, or is it just kind of wishy-washy, do whatever you want when you can?
Yeah, actually, that's pretty much exactly what it is. Like,
Your
I
child's
got,
koalaing you on the side,
yeah,
trying to type in.
I'm literally writing on my phone while he's climbing, and I have to catch him with one arm.
Yeah, the dad
Mom.
reflexes.
Yeah. They don't always work. They don't.
Well, babies bounce, right?
They do. Their
When you
bones are
miss.
like rubber, or so I'm told.
Ooh.
But actually, most of my writing these days, it's in my car. I have a Microsoft Surface that I'm actually doing this interview on, and I just put it in my lunch
Another
bag when
brand
I.
advertising. If you want to sponsor Microsoft, you can sponsor Chris.
That's right. I'm gonna have stickers like a NASCAR.
Yeah.
But I slip this into my work bag, my lunch bag when I go to work, and then on my breaks or my lunches, I'll pop out to my car and I'll just bang off 1,000 words whenever I can, or I'll, I've actually found a way where I can take EPUBs and have them read to me as if they're audiobooks by a robot, of course, but you take what you can get.
Yeah.
So that's how I've been doing pretty much all of my editing, any short story I have. And it's actually how I've been doing a lot of editing for other howlers. I'll download their stories on the feedback sheet, and then I'll just listen to it at work. And then that way I can go through it multiple times, like 4 or 5 times, and give notes on each aspect. So that's been a real game changer, actually.
Yeah,
just getting it.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, that's definitely something that I feel like all authors should do, is like, as part of your editing process, you should have somebody read it out loud to you, or like a robot.
Yep.
Skynet, or read it out loud to yourself, because it really changes the way you might write a sentence when you actually read it out.
Yeah.
So that's
even like just different formats, writing it longhand, or just getting it in a different way that you've been looking at it.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that you say that, because I don't know if you know this, but Anthony Frost also says that he writes at work during his breaks as well.
We have a lot of similarities, actually, he and I.
The hair, you guys have the same hair too. So,
I think mine's a little curly. I just got out of the shower, so it's a little straight right now.
There you go,
but,
cleaning up for the interview.
That's right. But yeah, we both work in factories. That's how we both have exceeded like 100 books read this year. We're just sneaking in headphones. I hope no one from work is listening.
Oh, yeah. If anyone from Chris's work is here, this is all fiction.
Right. This is all allegedly.
Allegedly in a video game.
Yeah. Double crossed. Yeah, I mean, they got Bluetooth earbuds that just slip in under your earmuffs and you're good. And you can listen to all the books your little heart desires.
Well, there you go. Well, besides listening to things out loud and writing at work, like, is there anything else? Any other writing secrets?
Where do I get my ideas from?
Oh yeah, where do you get your ideas from? Besides stealing them from your parents.
I steal them from my parents.
It's your inheritance. You deserve it.
That's right. They owe me.
You were the middle child. You've come to collect.
Exactly. A lot of dreams. I just had some bronchitis dreams, fever dreams that have inspired a couple. You wake up in the middle of the night.
Lovecraft.
Is that what he did?
Yeah, he wrote a lot. He wrote about quite a few dreams, and about stories about even just about dreaming.
That makes sense.
I mean, he has a whole mythos land called the Dreamlands.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just know his greatest hits at this point.
If you ever want like a good in-depth view of what inspired his stories, the HP Literary Podcast is it's on Spotify. It's really good. I think it's called the HP Podcraft.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should listen to that, because I don't appreciate Lovecraft as much as maybe I should. I appreciate the universe he created. I appreciate cosmic horror and Lovecraftian fiction.
Some of the writing can be dense.
Yeah, well, I think the problem with him is it falls into a lot of traps that I think new writers fall into, in that when you're writing alone, you often write characters who are alone. And that's boring. Like, I want to see characters interacting and their relationships developing. I don't want to see just one guy experiencing creepy thing after creepy thing. And
I would recommend it then. I haven't read everything Lovecraft has written, but I've listened to some of those podcasts about the stories I haven't had an interest to read, and they do go over like the general plot and then they deep dive into it, which I almost find more interesting. Like they'll say, this is what the story is about. I'm like, oh, that sounds boring. They're like, here's what inspired it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like,
Right, it adds that extra layer.
Yeah,
I should do that because I got the idea from one of our members, Pepper Drop, Matt Wend. He's challenged me to write a story.
Doxed.
Yeah, he's gonna be a character in it. He gave me the challenge to write a story where an elder god is seduced. So that's my next project. I gotta make Lovecraft
Call Girl
sexy.
of Cthulhu has already been written.
Maybe I'll read that for research.
Yeah, there you go.
Steal.
Yeah.
New writers, just do that.
Okay, but you have to name a character after him then.
Yeah, I already have plans.
There you go. Then this is a good lean in. So you already kind of gave tips throughout, but are there any tips you haven't mentioned yet for new writers to kind of think about?
Yes. Probably the biggest tip is to give critiques to other writers. This is also another plug for Howls. If you can just, it gets you into that editing mindset where editing your own stuff might not do it for you. So you start to look at other people's stories and you think, this works, this doesn't work. And then by being in that mindset, you can carry it over to your work and start to see the areas of your own stuff that needs to be trimmed, or it gives you that other viewpoint. And if you do that as much as possible, I think that'll help refine your own voice.
I mean, I would definitely agree. It also is a good insight because I've read some other Howlers' work and I'm just like, wow, how did they write so well? And they're saying this is only a first draft. I hate that.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of.
That jealousy really fuels you, you know.
You're like, I'm gonna write just as good as you, and then we'll see who laughs.
That's right. And they're like, I didn't know we were having this competition.
Yeah, well, we are. Yeah, I would definitely agree. Anything else?
As far as tips go, no. Write a lot, read a lot, and different stuff. And I would challenge people. I know there's a movement to do not finish books. If you don't like a book, put it aside. But I'm kind of anti that movement. If a book loses me in its first page, then that's fine. Like I've done that with a few books. But if you're like 10% in and you don't like it, I think you should finish it because it shows you what you don't like. And there was one book that I just read.
Okay. Are you gonna add this person? Who is this? What book is it?
I'm not gonna add them. I'm not gonna add them. It's pretty beloved, but if you join Howl Society and ask me, I'll tell you.
Oh, there we go.
But it's
that's your sign up. Okay.
Exactly. What do they call that when you sign up for the newsletter and you get a lead,
like a free gift?
A lead magnet? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That's my lead magnet.
There you go.
Find out the book that Chris hated.
I will have to disagree with that. I am of the opinion that my time is short, and like if it's a blasé book, I can usually finish it, but if it's so awful that it's a chore and I leave it for days at a time and I'm just putting off reading other books because I don't want to pick it up and finish it, I think it's better to not, again, this is my opinion, differing opinions. I'm probably right though, but I would rather not finish it and go on to something else because I feel like if it's a book I really, really don't like, I'm not learning anything from it except the fact that I hate this author and I will never read anything about them again.
Right. Well, okay. I don't know. Then what I'll do is I'll add an asterisk. If you have a job that lets you read like 3 books a week. I was gonna
say, like at that point when you have those earbuds in, you don't have a choice. It's gonna keep playing.
You're a captive audience.
Yes, you're trapped. If you have to make time to sit down and read a book because you're like really busy,
throw it out.
Yeah, you don't, or like I'm often before bed reading,
Yeah.
If I start falling asleep because the book's so boring and it's so awful, like then I'm just asleep. Like physically, I'm actually passed out on the bed.
We've all been there.
Yeah. So like, to me, I would argue, don't force yourself to finish a book if it's really that bad.
Right.
If it's like blasé, then I think you can learn. If you're not like fueled by hatred towards the books, then maybe you can learn from it. But like, I'm like saltier than you. That's the thing. Like,
you know what you like.
Yeah.
So you don't need to learn the lessons the hard way like I do. I need it drilled through my head.
Well then, you did mention 2 stories coming up. Do you want to repeat them and let us know if they are out yet?
Sure.
I'll probably be posting this the first week of January. So by then, like, let us know if these stories are out and where to look for them.
All right. Yeah. So Bloodlines is coming out. It's gonna have, or it is out at this point. I think it's coming out.
It's coming out.
Maybe next week.
Yes.
And it is going to have my story, Our Migraine, in it, novelette. The next one after that is going to be Mixtape 1986, which is the first anthology published by the Dread Machine, who they're putting out a ton of great stuff. If you go to their website, any story on there is worth your time. They're so good. So in Mixtape 1986, that'll have the short story inspired by my mom, Jaws. Some would say the superior Jaws.
But no sharks.
No sharks, no.
Okay.
It is a story about my mom having her jaws wired shut after surgery. Yes.
Oh, you and your body horror.
I know. It's a well I keep going to.
Yep.
And then after that, in May of 2022, check out Howls from the Dark Ages, which will have my short story, The Lady of Lear Castle.
Mm-hmm.
I did take some liberties. It's not Leap Castle, it's Lear Castle. If you want to look up where I got the inspiration, look up Leap Castle, because there's a bunch of wild stuff about it. And if you're in Ireland, go visit it and check out the oubliette. Oubliette. That's a fun word to say.
And besides that, any upcoming projects, any future projects?
No. Check out howlsociety.com for our reviews. I might have a review coming out soon.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I got to get busy on creating some content.
Did you write a 0-star review for the book you hate? Should they look there? Or is it top secret?
I do have a secret Goodreads account. So that my
Everyone keep an eye out.
Yes, there are hints, there are clues. That is where I put all of my 2-star reads. So
yeah, that's fair.
I rarely go 1 star. I did give 1 star to should I add this one?
Oh, I think I know which one.
Yeah, probably. That one was a conspiracy against the human race, because I just didn't like that one.
So, there's some spice going on at Howls Society, so check it out.
Ask me my opinion on that book.
Yeah, in the secret channels of Howls, where everyone can speak freely.
Yeah, I respect Ligotti and I like his fiction, but that one wasn't for me.
There we go. Now we do have a name. That's okay. He's never around. Is he a real person? Is he just a mannequin animated by his disdain for humankind?
We'll never know.
Never know. All right. And again, this was, am I going to say Chris O'Halloran?
Yes.
Yay.
You know what? I don't even know if that's right, though.
How do you not know how to pronounce your last name correctly?
Because we O'Hallorans are a very insular people, and there's not a lot of us.
Smith folk.
Yeah, exactly. I think in The Shining, his name is it Dick Halloran or Dick Halloran?
I
want to say it's Halloran.
Maybe.
So I think that's where I learned it from.
All right, not from your parents perhaps saying your last name for you.
I don't know if they're getting it right.
Okay, that's fair. Well, this was Chris, and again, his story, Our Migraine, is coming out in the collection Bloodlines on January 11th, 2022, and pre-orders are now currently available. And Chris, thank you again for letting me interview you and asking me to interview you, and giving me an ARC, because it was a really amazing collection to read.
Thank you.
And I encourage everyone to get a copy while they can. I mean, I guess they won't run out, but
ooh, One more thing I wanted to mention, something that's kind of unique to this book. Every physical copy will contain a code for the ebook.
Ooh.
So, I'm sick of having to choose between the two. There are so many books I've bought ebooks of, and then I love them so much I want a physical copy.
But then you've already paid for the book.
I've already paid for it. So this way, if you buy the physical book, you will be able to get that ebook for your phone or your Kindle and have both.
Okay, I didn't know that. So buy the hard copy and get a digital copy. I'm actually the same way, because I have a lot of hard copies and I'm like, I wish I could just scan the barcode as proof, or like have some kind of proof of purchase to get it on my Kindle for if I want to travel with it.
Why not?
Just reread it. Yeah. Darn book publishing companies and wanting to turn a profit.
I know. We're going to set a trend. We're going to set a trend.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.